really cool claim to fame is that you were the first guest on Steven Bartlett's Diary of a CEO podcast.
It was before the days of YouTube and him filming it, and it was just an audio podcast. I remember doing the interview, and the interview went really well. But in the morning, I woke up and I was like, what have I done?
Mark Stringer heads up the award-winning branding agency Ahoy. But having a connection with the world's biggest podcaster still has massive perks.
I put a post on LinkedIn, and out of the blue, Steve just put a comment on it. It was like the social media touch of God, like the doosh. And then all of a sudden, it had like 80,000 views.
And while growing a successful and extremely profitable personal YouTube channel, Mark is now using those skills to prioritize video in his agency. How important do you think it was to actually cut your teeth on a personal channel before you then started offering it as a service?
I don't know if I'd have been able to do it any other way. I think the kind of creator-led community is growing and thriving. I think businesses using YouTube is way behind. Just the power of just getting started and doing it no matter how bad it is. I know it sounds really cliche, but it's so true. So many people have ideas and they really visualize it in their head and fantasize about it. A lot of people don't put it into action.
So Mark, many people know you as kind of a top agency owner in Manchester, but a really cool claim to fame is that you were the first guest on Steven Bartlett's Diary of a CEO podcast. That show is now essentially the gold standard for video podcasts. But how did you find yourself as the first guest on that show?
Where do I start? I think first and foremost, I kind of knew Steve on the agency scene. So he was running Social Chain. And I think he was kind of always the one to watch. Social Chain was doing incredibly well. It was a different model than a lot of the other agencies had. And I was listening to his own podcast, which was a solo podcast. And they just put something out saying that he'd been let down and he was looking for a guest.
Oh, so he was actually looking for a guest then?
Yeah, so he'd had someone lined up and they dropped out. And then, it was just like kind of, he'd put something out on social media. And at the time I'd been through a horrible year and said, I've got a story to tell. I've got a story to tell.
You really did.
So I kind of messaged him, and it's funny, I've kept that email actually, just with this weird little email. And I just said, I've got a story. And he was like, if you're going to do it, you really need to do it. You've got to be really honest, really vulnerable. It's got to be the full story.
Yeah.
So I did. So it was the first. It's weird thinking about it, but it was the first ever person. I actually had to check on ChatGPT to see if I actually was the very first guest. But I am. I've got that claim to fame.
Yeah, and just for context for everybody, this was like episode 6 of the Diary of a CEO podcast. So early doors, before the huge production that it is now.
Yeah.
In fact, by the sounds of it, you had just the one mic.
Yeah.
In a room, wasn't even filmed.
So it was before video. That it did well. So if you're listening back to it, I think Steve mentions himself in the early days, his sound quality. Mm-hmm. And I think he mentions he bought £100 mic from the Apple store in Manchester. Yeah, it was just literally, I can't remember what mics were used and what have you, but
did you have one each? Because it almost sounded, no disrespect, the sound quality wasn't amazing on that episode. No, it sounded like you had one mic between you, but you actually had two.
I can't remember now. I can't remember. I think it was 2. But it was before the days of YouTube and him filming it, and it was just an audio podcast. But I remember even then that podcast went to number 1 in the business charts for Apple. So even then he was starting to do well with it.
It was a good episode. Bear in mind it was his 6th episode. He sounded a lot more practiced and a lot more experienced than people who've done this for a lot longer.
Yeah.
I think there was definitely signs that he could do well with that podcast. What was it actually like being sat opposite him?
I remember him sort of almost being like Panther-like. Just really, really calm. Almost like it was you're interviewing someone and you are wanting to stay back but ask the right questions at the right time and to get the most out of the interview. And I felt like he was really good at that. He was calm. He kept, I'm a chatterbox. I don't stop talking. So he was great at that. And he was just setting things up and I was just batting him out.
Yeah.
And I think the interesting sort of context to that is he was this agency owner that was going places. He had a totally different model around social media. The business was going fast. He was then doing this. So I kind of like looked up to, even though he was younger than me, I looked up to him anyway in terms of what he was doing. But then I did think, like, when in the interview, I was like, this guy's going to be really good. Yeah. He's got something here. And I remember doing the interview, and the interview went really well. And it's really cathartic in sort of talking about things in that way. Helps put things in a box. But in the morning, I woke up and I was like, what have I... the excitement from the day before, from driving for the podcast, to waking up in the morning and going, what have I done?
Really?
Honestly, yeah.
This is the morning after the interview.
Yeah. You know, like kind of like a cheap Halloween like trick where you knock on someone's door and then the thing flips up like and just goes, ah! That was me in bed. I was getting out of bed going, what have I done? On it, I was like, and just everything was flooding back to me like what my dad used to say, you know, don't do your dirty washing in public. And because of what had happened with the business, there was a big legal side to it. I checked in with my legal representative, my solicitor, and he was like, yeah, don't mention this, don't mention that, just be careful. So it was kind of, really, it was an official no. It was an unofficial yes. Wow. So it was quite risky.
Very risky.
Yeah, very risky. It was risky on a number of levels. It was risky because, you know, if this got out and people from the design community had seen it, you know, like people who read Prolific North and all the rest of it, like people, you know, built a career and built a business and a reputation that I was proud of. And then all of a sudden there was this big, huge risk at the chance of just undermining it all.
Sure.
By maybe being too honest or things being misconstrued in a certain way. But the opposite happened. The being vulnerable really worked in my favour. It was well received.
Yeah, tell me more about that, because I think I listened to the episode. I thought it was a great episode, by the way.
Yeah.
Gave me some more insights into you that I hadn't actually known from when we'd met before. And you are very raw, very vulnerable in it, for sure, but also extremely personable.
Yeah.
How much of your story did Steven actually know before the interview, and what was the reception like afterwards?
The two parts to what had happened, there was a sort of effectively an attempted coup and then a walkout of some guys that work for me that I was really close to. We'd had no fallout. So imagine in, you know, March 2017, 3 people that you're really close to, one of which was really, really close to. And then they just go, we're leaving, we're taking staff, you know, blah, you know, and you get to a point and they say, you know, we've spoke to a solicitor and this is cold, like you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
That shock. And I think, you know, because I'm writing a book about it now, like a little mini memoir. And I think one of the things I've been thinking about is up until that point, I'd never really sensed betrayal.
Yeah.
So I'd never really gone through the fallout of that. And I think because I'd been through both a betrayal, a big public display of betrayal in the business, and been through a terrorist attack, I think my brain started to sense that society wasn't a safe place to be. Like almost your worldview is under attack.
Yeah.
Like you're not safe in public, you know, and all the thoughts and feelings of the terrorist attack. And then you're not safe within friends and work, because that's equally can just be whipped out from underneath you at any moment in time. So your brain, as much as your frontal cortex is trying to make sense of everything and help you survive, it's exhausting trying for your brain to do that whilst this is all this other stuff's going on underneath.
Yeah.
And I've never really thought about that until I was writing the book and trying to understand the dynamic of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Steve, I just think
that's how well you know him. Just call him Steve now. You know.
Oh yeah, just call him Steve. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You know, it's kind of I put a post on LinkedIn about that I was writing the book, and out of the blue, Steve just like put a comment on it. It was like the social media touch of God, you know, like the thing like, I was like, and then all of a sudden it was like, I'd like 80,000 views or something like that on LinkedIn. And it just put a really lovely message. And it was just like, good luck with everything. And, it might have sort of meant nothing to him, but it meant everything to me at the time.
Yeah.
And it gave me the confidence to keep writing the book. Yeah, I think it's kind of, again, I sort of mentioned this in the book. I feel like that I'd worked with Social Chain. We'd had a common client called Adenola, like an athleisure brand. And I kind of knew a few people. I sort of knew Dom, not well, but I kind of knew him through the agency scene, his business partner. And I knew a few of the staff. But I always felt like he was kind of going places and that I didn't really feel like I should exist in his orbit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you have people that are that good and they have that much success, you kind of feel like you're not...
Bit of an imposter syndrome.
Yeah, like you're not deserving of their attention almost. So I kind of... we stayed in touch. It was like little bits of messages, but we never really stayed in touch. I just think it's amazing what he's done. It's just unbelievable.
Incredible, yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but if you like this studio, you can hire it at falconpodcasts.com. So just for extra context for people that are watching this now, you had a crazy year, basically.
Yeah.
It was this crazy year that kind of led up to having this first guest interview with Steven. I guess the best thing they can do is to listen to the episode 6 of the Diary of a CEO podcast to find out all about that backstory. And you do have a book that we're going to talk about in a little bit called The First Guest, which kind of fills some of those gaps in as well. But before the interview, did Steve know a lot of the details, or did you just have like a rough outline of what happened?
Sorry, I didn't answer your question. Sorry, Luke. He did. So he knew about those two things. So he knew about the terrorist attack and he knew about what happened with the walkout. So he did.
Yeah.
And I kind of told him a little bit about that before we went into the interview.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then you woke up in the morning, you had your Halloween Dracula moment, springing out of bed.
Yeah.
But what was the feedback when the episode actually went live?
It was weirdly quite difficult, and I'll tell you why. So the feedback from sort of mates in the industry was like, listen to that podcast, amazing. So it was like all positive. But then I started to get these really deep, long LinkedIn messages from people that I'd identified with the things that I'd been through. And maybe because I'd been so vulnerable on the podcast, they just were opening up to me.
Oh,
and then you feel this kind of sense of responsibility to go back to them. And at different moments when Steve's sort of podcast took off, there'd be more messages than other days. And obviously when you're busy and try to do things and you get something through, it's like these long messages and you have these kind of backwards and forwards with people. But yeah, there was like, stories of people that have lost children, been betrayed in business, rebuilt businesses, been through all sorts of things in life and just deciding that, I'll just open up to this guy because he was really vulnerable. So I'll open up to this guy. So all of a sudden you become a little bit of a counselor. And it's weird as well. It kind of, when you do something like that, it means that other people that are close to you kind of open up more. Mm-hmm. So, I think the more you are vulnerable and open, it means that other people feel like they can do the same.
Yeah.
So that's quite a good domino effect, really.
A nice one. Yeah, absolutely. Are you still in contact with some of those people that reached out to you now, or?
A little bit. Yeah. It's funny as well. I think with LinkedIn, we're in an enviable position that I'm old enough that I've got good contacts. So I get loads of referrals and, we're quite good at what we do. So we kind of get continuing referrals. So on LinkedIn, I kind of don't really put much about the work.
Yeah.
It's more about things that happen in my life. So like even this year, it's been quite a tough year, and just open up about certain things. Like I had a tumor removed from my colon. I just opened up a little bit about that, about tough year. And I had a guy reach out and he's like, dead interest in that. I've had colon cancer. Good luck with everything. Even if it is, because this was before they found out whether it was or wasn't cancer. Like even if it is, don't worry, they've got good treatments. And I just ended up speaking to him on the phone.
Wow.
And he was telling me all about this story about the fact that his family have this gene that makes them more predisposed to colon cancer, and had most of his colon removed and all the rest of it. Like, I think this is the thing. I know we're going to talk about YouTube and like, you're the don of YouTube. Like, I can't believe some of the views that you've had. Do people on this podcast know that you've got that channel? And
sometimes not. Sometimes
I think that's fascinating as well. yeah. Oh God, so many thoughts here now. So one of the things I was trying to say was, when you are open about the things that are quite personal on a public platform, especially in a method like YouTube where it's video and you can communicate a lot, you can make some great contacts and friends through that. Mm-hmm. It really does pay back.
Funnily enough, when I was a much smaller YouTuber, like on the road to like 1,000 subscribers, I actually connected with lots of people that were in similar niches, at similar size with their channels.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with them now. I still watch their content now. I still message them now. It was a really, really nice community. It's amazing what can happen off the back of this.
I am literally going after this interview to Snowdonia to camp out with all the guys from the campervan scene, one of which is Aidan, a YouTuber who's doing really well. Mm-hmm. So,
it's amazing. The doors it opens are incredible.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I find really fascinating listening to this story, and again, applying it to kind of a video side, is I think particularly in B2B, there's always this idea of you shield a lot of your personal life away, and you've got like a business persona, particularly on things like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But actually, it would seem that your more personal, vulnerable side has actually made you maybe more connections than if you just had this kind of more curated business persona. Do you think that's true?
Well, I think this is true within, so like personal branding. Mm-hmm. The way I work with businesses when I talk about brand strategy is that you first need to understand your faults to work with them, push them down or dial them up, because it can be a strength and a weakness. And I think that's true with personal brands. And I think that is something that content creators have probably dialed up and had accidental success with. Mm-hmm. With others, I think by being a bit more vulnerable and personal, they could probably benefit more. So it's actually a lever that can be pulled. Yeah. It's just whether you've got the balls to
do it.
To pull the lever. That's it. Yeah.
Because I would say I am a classic example of someone who doesn't share personal stuff. It's very, very rare.
Yeah.
That I would. And I'm happy to, but I've just always had that ethos of that's not for LinkedIn. That's not for YouTube. That's something else.
And I think that's true. I think I probably overshare. Like, I've got ADHD. I didn't realize, but that's probably why I do overshare. But I do think there's certain aspects of it that it just helps other people in life. If you can share something and you've both been through it, then it really, really helps.
Definitely. I mean, you very kindly shared some of the drafts of your upcoming book, The First Guest.
You are the second person that's read it, Luke. So
really?
You should be feeling very privileged.
I do indeed feel very privileged.
Adam, my mentor, is going to be helping me kind of with the book. And you're the second person that's read it.
Oh, wow. Honestly, I do feel privileged. And I have to say, I read the book and it was very, very raw, very, very personable. But at the end of reading it, I felt like I knew you really well. There was a lot of experiences that you'd had that, yours were a lot more dramatic than mine, but they were certainly relatable. And so I felt like I knew you and I liked you at the end of it. And I think that's a really, really powerful thing. So I think the book will be a huge success for you for sure.
Cheers, man. I hope so. Yeah. It's only in manuscripts at the moment.
Yes. Yeah. But no, it's certainly got great potential.
Yeah.
Just one last thing on Steven Bartlett before we move on to more video marketing side. Do you think that it's had a positive impact on your life being on the Diary of a CEO podcast? And is there anything that you've learned from it that's helped you in business?
It definitely has had a positive impact being on that podcast. I think it's been more positive because of how successful Steve has been. And even, okay, I was the first guest, but at the end of the day, he, off his own back, got the mic, started to tell his story about what was going on in his week every week. And that takes a lot of kahunas to do that. I was the first guest, but I think, as I say, I don't think it was that I was particularly important or entertaining. It was just the story was dead interesting. So yeah, massively has helped. And I think it's helped in that understanding that just getting going with something and sticking with it. Because that's what Steve's done. He's just like viciously kept up with it. Yeah. And regardless, like I have other agency owner friends and who will go, I'm not too keen on Steve. He's a bit this or he's a bit that. They think he's arrogant or whatever. But I think that what he's done, the tenacity of him sticking with that and the hours he must have put in, like the effect it must have on his life in terms of some of the things he's not done and some of the sacrifices he's made. Like no one can take that away from him, and he's still young.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So yeah, really, really positive. And I think the things that I take away from that is don't be worried that the first attempt at things are not quite right. Stick with it. You'll get better. Put the reps in. It's a funny thing actually that keeps coming up on the interviews is because I've watched some of the interviews, is like people do talk about putting the reps in and how important that is. Yeah. So yeah, I think that taking that and then other that I'm doing a lot at the moment with customers around social media strategy and understanding that some platforms are evergreen, YouTube being one of them. Yeah. Pinterest to a certain degree being another, but YouTube, like if you put stuff down on video, that video is floating around for five years.
Sometimes in a good way and other times maybe not. Yeah. It's me again. If you're interested in taking your video marketing to the next level, then check out our YouTube services at falkondigital.com.
What do you think watching back to some of your, sorry, I'm going off topic. What do you think watching some of your earlier videos?
You won't find many of them because I tend to unlist them after a while.
Do you?
Oh yeah. I mean, someone said to me recently, they said, yeah, I thought you said you started YouTube in 2016. I was like, I did. So, I looked at your channel and I only found videos back to like 2019. Right. So, yes, because they're all unlisted. I haven't deleted any of them. They don't exist anymore. So sometimes in part it's because they're now terrible. Yeah. Even if they had like a lot of views. But there's also a strategic element to it as well. Yeah. Because I've niched down. I've got something that's working for me. Yeah. And those videos just aren't relevant.
Get it
anymore.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But no, I'm glad that some of them aren't floating around.
But I think it's nice to watch back because you can see how far you've come.
Oh yeah. For me personally, to look back and say, God, look at my presentation to camera. Look at my editing. Look at everything was not great. It was okay. Yeah. It was getting better. But compared to where it is now, it's a different level.
I think Steve's doing a lot of that retrospective looking at where he started from at the moment. I think that's really interesting in terms, I don't know if that's an intentional thing or whether he's just doing it.
Do you think it's a nostalgia thing or do you think he's doing it strategically to kind of see like how far he's come?
Well, I went to his live show and he did this talk on stage about when you get to the bottom of the mountain and then as you get to the top of the mountain, when you've achieved everything, you then start to look to give back and like there's this other part of your life and how you reflect on things and everything. And I think because his life has been so supercharged, he's starting to get to that point now. Like he's started Steven.com, which is this kind of creator economy, the Disney of the creator economy, which is just fascinating. And I think he's getting to this moment in his life where he is being more reflective on where he's come from. Obviously, that helps tell the brand story, but I think that will make people warm to him more to see how far he's come. It's a fascinating story. Again, it's in the book, but at the show, I got a ticket off a mate, my mate Neil, and he's like, "Oh, I got a ticket to Steven Bartlett's show. Like, you go." I was like, "Oh, wicked." Me and Kate went, my wife, got into the Apollo in Manchester, and we ended up being sat 2 seats from the front. And I was like, oh no, it's like, this is a bit too close. And then he started and he got to this point where he was going, as you become successful in life, people ask you for money, borrow things, favors. And he's like, all the podcasts, like everyone wanted to be on the poddy. But the truth is, back then, nobody wanted to be on the poddy. And before I could stop myself, I said, I did. I went, I did. And I was like, when the words come out my mouth, I tried to pull them back in.
Immediately retract them.
Yeah, and it had gone. And I could feel Kate like grab my arm as if to say, you dickhead, don't, no more. And he sort of, I think because it was not loud enough to be a heckle and not low enough to be ignored, he was like sort of looking, he was like squinting into the audience. And he sort of said, he was like, Mark?
You like waving?
Sort of, I was like, so that was an interesting moment.
I've seen that video, and he recognizes you, doesn't he, straight away?
Yeah.
Mark, you were my first guest.
Yeah. So I think that was a lovely little kind of, almost, I felt like I was in like a little 80s sort of 90s film where, you kind of live in the moment a little bit. The underdog finally kind of pops his hand up and says, yeah. It was quite a nice moment.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because I didn't know he was looking for guests at his podcast. So I looked back and I could see, it's called The Diary of a CEO. It, for all intents and purposes, to me looked like it was just his diary.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was his strategy to just document everything that he was doing. I didn't know that he was actively looking for guests. Yeah. So when I saw your episode, I was like, well, you have maybe inadvertently changed the trajectory of his whole podcast by being his first guest. And it's interesting because it made me wonder, is there a benefit to not solo podcasting, not solo monologuing, and actually having guests on to have those shared experiences and ultimately give more value to your audience?
Oh man, that's absolute gold. Yeah, I think I have thought about this. And if I take myself out of the equation and I look at what Steve's done, I don't know if he's worked on it or his natural ability to interview people and the tenacity of how they research things and what have you. It was always going to be a success. It was never going to be anything less. And I think if he was just doing the solo stuff, look at what it's become.
The profile of some of his guests now. They're like the top tier. You've got governors and actors, celebrities, everyone. It's a big deal now.
And it just goes to show. I think it's that kind of, that power of first and getting going with something. If he never bought the mic and he never got going with it, if I never sent the message, it'd be someone else he interviewed, and I'm sure he'd be just as successful, maybe even more. Maybe I held him back. But what I'm trying to say is like just the power of first, the power of just getting started and doing it no matter how bad it is. I know it sounds really cliche, but it's so true. It really is. I think like Steve talked a lot about on stage how so many people have ideas and they fantasize, like they really visualize a podcast and interviewing people. I'm sure you've done it. Like you do this podcast, like who's going to be the next person on the podcast? Stepping stones.
Yeah.
And they really visualize it in their head and fantasize about it. But a lot of people don't put it into action. Like you've set this room up and you're doing it. There's loads of people that have the idea and never actually do it. And he was sort of really, like beautifully telling that kind of story of there's so many dreams and people just simply don't put it into action.
Yeah.
And that he just puts a lot of things into action. Yeah. And a lot of things that he talks about is that, we fail fast.
Yeah.
So lots of things into action, lots of little failures inevitably means lots of success.
Absolutely.
I think that's a secret to it.
I 100% agree. I think that the two main things that have come out of this are, it's the people who actually take action.
Yeah.
They're the ones that have the success.
Yeah.
And it's their bravery really in putting themselves out there and doing those things that really is what leads to their success. And then the biggest catalyst for success really is the persistence side of it.
Yeah.
So many people give up. Somebody told me an anecdote once that was most people that start a podcast, they never get past episode 10. Normally given up by that point. But it's the people that are persistent and carry on.
Yeah.
They're the ones that actually make it. And I've seen so many YouTubers come and go because he didn't get the success that they wanted.
That was going to be the next thing. It's like, it's very similar to YouTube. You see so many people give up and there's just this one video that then goes bang, shoves them up, and then they get renewed confidence, and that's that feedback loop, and then they do better and better. And I've sort of seen that myself a little bit on YouTube.
I'd like to talk about this because Ahoy is, I think, a very, very well-established name. I mean, I remember when I was working at agencies, it feels like almost 20 years ago, people would talk about Ahoy with like, oh yeah, they're a good company.
Yeah.
And you've worked with some great clients. You mentioned Everton, Kellogg's.
Yeah.
Amazing brands. And I've seen your work. It's incredible work. And you are clearly very, very skilled at branding. But now you are looking more towards video. What kind of encouraged that switch to video?
Yeah, I think it's funny actually, because if it wasn't for COVID, I don't think I would be doing anything with video. Yeah. So the agency was doing, we had the guys leave and then a rebuild, and I brought some really good people in, like Tom. Matt was effectively my ops director. Tom was my creative director. Got some really good people around us. And we kicked on from like good brands, like some people work with like Shindigger beer. They went from like Gypsy Brewing nobodies to doing really well. Funny story, I nicked that client off my mate Neil, who runs another agency called Creative Spark, who we've since non-exec at. And we always used to joke about like who had won different things. And we started off as like competitors and then become friends. That's another story. But I think if it wasn't, we'd built the agency back up and done really well. We'd moved into Manchester. We're in a really healthy position. We'd had an investor, bought the investor out. That went really well. And then we were getting like Everton Football Club campaign for their season ticket. Kellogg, we did like this internal communication piece for them, like that was beautiful animation. So we were doing bits of video, but it was always me or someone else art directing, getting other video people in or photographers. So we understood the kind of optics of what we were trying to get. But I'd never actually, I had a camera. I studied photography as part of my course, but I'd never had a camera and started to do it myself. Yeah. And then through COVID, I then decided I wanted to do more around camper vans because I've been like flipping vans and like doing them up and selling them. And it was really good money and really good fun. And I started whistling. Okay. It was like, you're really annoying, you're whistling, but whistling is a really good sign that you are really happy. So like something's you need to think about that. So to speed the story up, I decided to make the agency smaller and do other things. As a result of making the agency smaller, I fell back in love with the doing, bit of project management, being really hands-on, bits of creative, and having a smaller team. And then out the back of that, it gave me a little bit more time. So it was financially better to have a smaller agency and kind of become lean and smaller. That gave me more money, more time. That more money, more time was invested in camera kit. Camera kit and learning. So I learned myself how to film with the camper van stuff. I then not only converted and did the camper vans and filmed it.
So just for context for everybody, you have a YouTube channel, Ahoy Leisure, which is essentially a van life. Is that correct, van life or van conversions?
Yeah, well, technically van life is people that live in vans, but it's often used. Camper vans, and like the small Volkswagen transporter vans and the big adventure vans. We ended up with a little mini fleet of 4 at one point that we rented out. And I was just starting to document all the things I was doing. We actually ended up selling an electrical system. And I found this electrical system that was amazing. It's from Denmark. And I just thought it was a bit of a hidden gem.
And explain to people, what does an electrical system do in a van?
So if you want to run your electrics in a van, whether that's your normal plug-in stuff like you have at home or your 12 volt, which is the battery that you have in the main vehicle, and you want to run your lights and fridge and hairdryer or whatever, it's this all-in-one system. So it takes solar power from the alternator, and you've got power in your van. And I found this all-in-one system. There was other ones out there, but they were like cheap Chinese stuff and not as reliable.
Yeah.
These things were made in Denmark and they're made for a commercial environment. So they're made to go in like ambulances and
so the
things
serious
like
bits
that.
of kit then basically.
Yeah. Very, very like reliable. And I ended up wangling a meeting with the Danes that owned it.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I sat on this thing talking about branding and social strategy. And I was like, look, we need to build our tribe. Like, I'll do some videos. We'll find other people. Mm-hmm. And I built this strategy and reached out to a few people, got them to do videos. And we just started selling the unit. And it was so successful. I never really said this on publicly, but we ended up paying for our main motorhome through selling that.
That's a substantial.
Drop shipping as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you was to go and buy the adventure van that we've got, if you was to go and buy it, it's like 90 grand, 100 grand.
Wow.
I built it for 60 and effectively ended up paying for it with the sales of the electrical kit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would not have been able to do that without YouTube.
Yeah.
So I just filmed what I was doing. I did some quite tricky, boring videos showing how the wiring works.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did well, and we built trust, and I built friendships off the back of that. And we'd have people come to the house and pick up electrical kit sometimes, and you get to know them. And the van life scene is just so, it's just like a big, warm, cozy hug.
I was going to say, that's a nice community to be involved with. Anything to do with like adventure, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't automatically have nicer people.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what it is as well? It's like, you'll go on a campsite, you're all there, everyone's got the vans, and it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. I was on one recently, and Ian had retired from Canon, and he was like this really high level tech IT guy, retired, invested in property. He had an amazing van with like way too much kit in the back. I was laughing. I was sat down in my chair. I was like, Ian, how much stuff are you getting out of this van? He's like got 4 like stove cookers and everything. And then there was other people on that campsite that didn't have as much money, or had not a brand new, 150 grand van. And everyone just like mucks in, and it's like everyone sits around the campfire and chit chats and has a laugh. And it's really is that thing within camping that all of a sudden everyone on that campsite for that weekend becomes your neighbour.
Yeah.
And you just meet so many new people. And yeah, I really do love that aspect of it. It's just getting my first ever camper van was the best thing I ever did in my life, hands down. It's just so fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I think, those pivotal moments where, maybe don't think much of it at the time, but it ends up changing your whole life. One thing I always find interesting when I hear stories like this is, so you started that YouTube channel almost as like it's a personal channel, but it ends up becoming quite profitable for you, and it's now led into, things that you do in business.
Yeah.
How important do you think it was to actually cut your teeth in YouTube and editing and video on a personal channel before you then started offering it as a service?
I don't know if I'd have been able to do it any other way.
Right.
I think the things I learned, I think you need someone to guide you and to give you the key aspects and guidance. I think it supercharges what you're doing. But I really do think you have to put in the reps. You have to film yourself, watch yourself back, and understand what's going right and what's going wrong. Mm-hmm. You have to do the editing to understand how many filler words you're using and how it's out of focus, or the sound's crap or whatever. And you go through that, understanding light and shaping light is really important. So all the fundamentals, as fundamental as they seem, there is this huge amount of understanding that's needed. And that has then enabled me to understand things like we do 3D and 3D animation, and I art direct 3D animation. It's helped me understand that better.
Yeah.
It's probably helped me understand myself better and give myself more confidence in pitching and working with people, whether it's pitching ideas, working with my team members. So it's kind of like soft skills. Mm-hmm. And then, definitely like camera movements and things like that. These like little things I've learned.
It's funny. I think there's people don't realize. I think when they think of YouTube, they say, oh, well, you need to know how to use a camera, and you maybe need to know how to speak to camera.
Yeah.
But really, it's such an incredible learning curve for YouTube because you need to know so much, because you need to know, yes, filming, lighting, editing, speaking to camera, yes, all important. But then there's so much that goes around it as well.
Yeah.
You've got the scripting, you've got the marketing, you've got the psychology, you've got the design. There's like so many things that you need to know in order to be successful. It's not just a case of just speaking to camera.
Yeah, it's like thumbnails, where your drop-off points are.
Mm-hmm. Even understanding what those drop-off points even mean.
Yeah, why? Why is that? Why has that happened there? Or what did I say? Or what could I have done differently? Could I have shortened the edit? Could I have left it a little bit longer?
Mm-hmm. What's turned somebody off at that moment? There's a lot
there's
to
so
analyze
much
and go through.
Yeah. There's so much. I think, it has been a massive plus, and it's really cool come full circle. So for example, I'm working with a client called Waltons at the moment, and fascinating story. Owner had another business, outdoor toys, sold that, I think it was like 100 million.
Wow.
Then bought another business, which was kind of sheds, saunas. It was sheds, lodges, and general like outside buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Then recently he's bought in saunas and other things. And we filmed campaigns. So whereas normally what starts to happen with clients is rather than bring a video guy in, because I'd done the YouTube stuff, because I'd invested in kit, I was like, I'll do that and I'll save some money.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great. This is like more profitable. I've had more fun.
Yeah.
It's like I'm learning. And then by the time I got to the Walton stuff, it was like,
you were able to apply all that knowledge.
Yeah. So it was bigger production and you're planning things in, and it's like you're able to apply all that knowledge, layer that up with like, we did the brand strategy and created the new branding, like very cohesive. And then with the editing and what we've done and stuff, it feels very joined up. Mm-hmm. And then recently I've just done social strategy for them. And my knowledge about YouTube has become like so useful.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the way they were advertising and doing a lot of short form, and even like the influencer gifting versus they've got high ticket items. So like it doesn't really work that well.
Yeah.
But with evergreen content and investing in content creators that, if you invest in a content creator that's perfect for that brand, and they're at like, say they're big and they're like 1 million subs.
Yeah.
And they're getting really good traffic. You go, well, I'm going to invest in this piece of content. It's going to last 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, where are they going to be in 5 years? And you can look at like VidQ and look at metrics to go, they're probably going to be at 1.6.
Yeah.
So your video's growing, their channel's growing. Mm-hmm. It's like a compounding social media model, which 100%. You don't get with anything else.
Absolutely. I think it's an incredible economy, really, when you think about it. Yeah.
And is it Jordan Schwarberger? I always get his name wrong. He was the manager of the Sidemen.
Oh yeah.
He's doing lots of stuff at the moment on talking about YouTube and how it's like this huge giant, like sleeping giant.
Yeah.
Like, I think there was a metric this year. It was only second to the BBC as a network. Mm-hmm. Viewerships are like way higher than what's happening with Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a phenomenon that's kind of like we all use it and all watch it. A perfect example is we'd spoke a lot about social media with the Waltons brand, and I was chit-chatting to James, and then after I did the thing, he's like, do you know what? I don't really watch normal TV. No. Like me and my son, we're just watching YouTube all the time, and I jump into bed and I'm sat watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's just this thing that clicks in people's heads, and they go, why am I not thinking about this platform that I personally spend a lot of time watching?
Exactly.
And that has this amazing compounding effect.
Yeah. Yeah. We speak to people at television networks, and they talk to us about their type of viewership that they get. And then we tell them our numbers on YouTube, and they're like, what? It's like 10, maybe 100 times more on YouTube, which when you think about it is just, it's bonkers, really.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really struggle to get going on YouTube. I think they maybe post a video or have one stab at it.
Yeah.
It's unsuccessful for lots of reasons.
So tricky.
And then they realize, this is going to be hard work to get traction on, and they kind of stop.
Yeah.
They don't have that guidance in order to help get them through it.
And you see it from people like transitioning from TikTok or whatever, and they go from like 50,000 views, and then they go onto YouTube and they're getting like
10.
600 views. It was 10. And they're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's a big switch, but when you get it right, it's just so powerful.
That's it. It's when you get it right, when everything aligns, then the results are just phenomenal. And the ROI, I don't want to sell this too much, but the ROI in YouTube is so much greater than any other of those social platforms.
Well, I've seen it myself, and the way I'm sort of approaching it is if I can just give clients even 10% of that, with the investment that some of the clients are making in social as a whole, I'm looking at this and going, well, I think this could improve their ACOS, their advertising cost of spend. I think it can start to really pull the lever because there's so much investment in Meta and what's happening at the moment. I think the geo advertising is going to be super interesting. I think ChatGPT is going to be launching. So video becomes even more relevant.
Yeah.
If you can produce content that means chatbot agents and AI can refer to.
Yeah.
That's improving. So you're learning, you're creating more trust as a piece of content. You're driving more people. You all of a sudden it's AI search. Like if you're not doing it, you got to have a look at yourself in the mirror.
Left behind very, very quickly if you're not careful. Yeah. Now, when it comes to video as well, something I found quite fascinating about you is most production companies, they almost always use Canon, Sony, Red cameras, something like that. You took a slightly different path.
Slightly different.
You went down the DJI Ronin 4D, which is an incredible camera, but comes with an incredible learning curve, I guess.
Big learning curve.
Why did you go down that route?
Oh, mate, that's a good question. Ronin 4D. So I'd been using a lot of drones, so I felt very comfortable with DJI as a brand.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to find a video that was a camera that was kind of, I could take out of a case and use. So I wasn't really thinking about the gimbal aspects of it and everything.
Yeah, we should probably say actually, for people that don't know, the DJI, explain what the DJI Ronin looks like.
The DJI is a camera that you literally hold with two hands. You've got all your controls on the two handles. And there's a gimbal on the end of it with a camera that can turn, that you can control. And it's got the chicken head feature that you press a button and then you got the Z axis, which means if you walk in, you have this kind of like...
It's like a super stable
velociraptor kind of like thing with it.
In the old days, you used to have like these, you had like what was called a steady cam operator, which was a lot of equipment and you normally had to pay a skilled person to actually use it.
Yeah.
This kind of eliminates all of that.
It does.
And in fact, I think, wasn't it in the Adolescence TV show?
It was in Adolescence, the F1 thing with Brad Pitt.
Oh,
used
yes.
it. Civil War.
Civil War
used it. Yeah. For all their action shots, like the Civil War,
Civil War's in the Marvel?
No. No. Yeah. No, that's not CGI, that. I don't think there's hardly any filming with that. Was it called Civil War with, it'll come to me in a bit, but yeah, there's quite a lot of films starting to use it. And I think people are realizing, again, that's a bit of a hidden gem. And when I bought the camera, because like it was at the FX6, FX3, like a lot of things were getting smaller and more compact, stabilization built in, and this idea that you can do post-stabilization. I was like, am I buying a bit of a dinosaur here? Like, what's going on? But I fell in love with it. Really reliable, never let me down. So the way I sum this up in my head, because I had to explain this to Katie, because she's like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing spending all this on other thing? So it was like, right, well, it's an out of the box, saves me time. I can take it out of the box, get running, clip the handles in, and I've not got to put a monitor on, a battery thing, and all the rest of it. Attach it to a gimbal. Second to that was, does it fit into the ecosystem? I was using a Lumix camera, S5 II, S5 I at the time, S5 II.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Brilliant cameras, very underrated. And the lenses were really good. And the lenses were the prime lenses for them are all the same size and roughly the same weight. So for use on a gimbal and just switching in and out, really good. So I was like, this all makes sense to me in my head. And then I got the camera, I was like, whoa, what's this? You try to film things, it's going one way and everything. And
it's hard to use. I've tried it.
Have you?
It's difficult. I think it's intuitive once you know what to do. When I first used it, it was like the opposite. I was going the wrong way. It wasn't following the way I thought it would.
Yeah. I have seen people like working with it. And I think once you get to know it, it's such a great camera.
Yeah.
I think it's just with the way things are going in the world, with everyone's trying to get a bit leaner, like you're trying to minimize cost on a shoot and a campaign. It really does, because you're not having to do too much setup. And actually, I think that the thing with that camera is, just as a camera, like whacking on a tripod and using it, like it's just so good. The actual one thing I forgot to mention actually was the operating system. So it's very much like, like Blackmagic style. Like the system is really easy to use.
Nice intuitive menus and things, isn't it? And settings.
Yeah. So that was the reason. And I've shot some great stuff with that, considering like effectively a solo shoot. I'm kind of like art directing, doing it.
Yeah, you wear a lot of hats at the same time.
Load of hats. But it's sometimes incredibly frustrating. So sometimes it might be that the gimbal just needs resetting, or something happens, or there's like little quirks. But in the main, it's been really reliable and a proper like workhorse. And it's earned me some dough as well. It's
it's probably paid for itself now, hasn't it? So,
and really good feedback off clients as well. Even though the lens kit that I've been using is, they're not like really expensive lenses, and not anamorphic lenses, or it's not a cut lens that's giving a cut look and all the rest of it. The Lumix lenses, if you used to buy that camera secondhand with a suite of 3 primes from Lumix, and then having the like an S51 or S52 like that as a kit, great. It's like value for money.
Oh yeah,
do so much with it.
We almost had S52 ourselves as a backup camera. We're primarily Sony and Canon, but I had a GH5 back in the day. This is getting very techie now.
How much does it do useful? For video guys watching, they'll be loving it. But
anyone else is like, I'm just saying numbers and out of everything that you've done so far on YouTube, and your YouTube channel, by the way, I love it. It's doing really well. I think it's got great potential. There's some tweaks that you need to do, which we're going to talk about very, very soon. But what do you think your biggest blocker has been on YouTube so far?
My biggest blocker on YouTube, I think consistency. And you get, I don't know if this is me personally, because of the fact that I do more campaign work and bigger things, you get caught up in the bigger ideas and you go, I'm going to wait this week, so I'm going to do that other thing, and I've got to arrange for that interview and things. So for example, for people watching, one of the videos, instead of just talking to camera about this new model Volkswagen Transporter T7 that's coming out, I set up an interview with a dealership because there was all these things coming out about this, again, a bit technical, but it's got a wet belt, and it was also made by Ford rather than Volkswagen. So there's a lot of controversy around it. So I could see that trend coming up, and I was like, well, how can I do a bit more? There's lots of people talking about the vans that didn't own a van, not really spoke to anyone about it, and were just kind of like an echo chamber, just, reverbing what they'd seen off other people. I was like, no, I'll treat this more like a bit of an investigative kind of thing, go and speak to things. And it was great. It went really well. And you often think people are going to say no to those types of things, but they generally will say yes. And so the learning curve for me really is more consistency, keep things simple, but do have these gems in your locker that you want to try. But sometimes like just giving the information that you've got in your head to an audience by just literally talking down the camera.
And curiously, when you say consistency, that can mean a lot of things. What do you mean by consistency?
I think that aim for once a week.
Oh, sorry, like a publishing consistency.
Aim for once a week, and maybe if it slips a week, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. If it slips 3 weeks, don't beat yourself up. But I've had moments where it's been like
6 months.
A month.
I have anyway.
I mean, my mate who's a YouTuber, he's like, mate, it's like you there's none, and then you do like 3 videos. Like
it's the story of my life.
It's like,
you've been looking at my channel.
He's like, what's going on? That's because the algorithm does like consistent publishing.
It likes consistency in lots of ways. It likes consistency in publishing. It likes consistency of themes, consistency of topics. All of these things are important for sure.
So I think like what's held me back with the channel is just lack of consistency, overthinking things.
Is it time as an agency owner as well? Because this isn't your full-time gig. This is a side hustle, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. Like Aidan, a friend of mine who's also a van YouTuber, he was a plumber. He's gone full-time YouTube now.
Oh, wow.
So he's got the luxury, and he's selling a product that he sells himself. So he's kind of, he's in with both feet, and it gives him a lot more time. Whereas mine's evenings and weekends. And when you're trying to do like interviews or stuff that's like a bit bigger, it does sap a lot of time. Like editing an interview versus editing you just talking to camera in a one go thing, it's different. It's different.
Definitely. How do you find talking to camera? I mean, we've noticed a lot of times there's people who are very, very good at talking, very, very good public speakers, but put them in front of a camera looking into a lens, all of a sudden they just fall apart.
Mate, honestly, like doing some work for, I won't say the company name, but I was doing some work, and I was working on, they developed their company values, and what they wanted to do is create a video where each of the directors were talking in to the camera and effectively talking about a value. So each director would talk about a value, and we put it all together, and there's loads of like footage of they make cakes, like kind of like filming everyone making cakes, and I mean, big massive place, and come together really well. But when I was interviewing this one guy, he was really like affable, and he was laughing and joking. He's like full of beans, like really confident. I was like, you got everything? Yeah. It's like, don't worry about it. You can kind of like, do little segments. So don't feel you got to get it all in one. No. But whack the camera on. He just slowly fell apart in front of the camera.
I've seen that so many times.
And I had to stop. I was like, right, can just everyone leave the room for a minute? And then I was just like sat chatting to him. I was like, come on, mate, what's going on? What are you thinking about? Is it something outside of this, or is it this? Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, it's this. It's just, I'm just struggling with it. And I was like, yeah, look, I do bits of YouTube stuff, and I find it sometimes, and I have good days and bad days. But I was like, all right, come on, stand up. Don't get out of the chair. And I think this is, I tell you what, this leads me to the second question. Is like, what one thing, and I will answer your question, Luke. I apologise. I keep going off topic.
I like your stories.
It's so much about working with people than it is about the artistic merits or the like getting all the production together. If you're on a shoot and it's kind of, I've been on a shoot where you shoot in like one day we'll do climbing frames and it's dealing with kids. Other day it's adult actors and we're shooting saunas. As much as I'm thinking creatively about angles and I'm checking where the sun is in the sky, and I've got like the stylist, I'm like, right, you go and do that. I'm not happy with that. And I've got a photographer working alongside me, and I'm talking to him about the lighting and all the rest of it. When people arrive on set, whether it's a talent or someone else, I'm like, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything? The food's over there. If you've got any questions, give us a shout. You've really got to make people feel comfortable on set. And the more you can do that, the better things will be. People smile different. People come across differently. It really does show. So I think, as an example, like, he did fall apart when I was talking to him, and like, but we got it out, and it was good enough.
Yes.
And I got a message off him saying, Mark, thanks so much for that. I was having a proper mare. I honestly thought he was going to burst out crying at one point. He'd built himself up that much. Yeah. And because what they'd done with the values and everything, this was an important part of it. Mm-hmm. He wanted to make sure he could deliver it and be part of it. Yeah. So, I think talking to camera, I think I do a couple of things. I'm a chatterbox anyway, so it comes quite easy. Like being a bit kind to yourself, but then, so I do two things. I either talk to like my son or daughter, or I talk to my younger self. Sometimes I will specifically be thinking about a customer that's been, if it's something to do with vans, I'll be specifically thinking about a customer directly.
So you're kind of imagining them behind the camera, or as if you're talking to them?
Yeah, like John, not people like John.
Got it.
Like I'm thinking like, right, I'm talking to John. And that really takes the sting out of the nerves. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I have like, I'm like, right, get up, got this set up. Right, I'm going to film this. I've done like a rough outline of things. Just can't get my words out. I'm like banging the table. Like I can't having an existential crisis. Like, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm just not good at this and all that. Like
all captured on camera, of course.
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah. That is it. It's all captured on camera, isn't it? It's funny, you do watch that back in the edit and go, why was I getting so stressed?
Yeah, why am I having this existential crisis on camera now?
Why is it happening on camera? Just why was I so stressed? Yeah, I think observing yourself back gives yourself more confidence. It's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
And then, thinking about the intended recipient of it. And when I'm trying to say be kinder to yourself, it's if you imagine your younger self, you didn't know certain things and all you're doing is just passing on the baton. You're just passing on this information. So get out your own way. Don't think about too much about yourself and your ego. Just, think about some kind of like technical things like filler words and like really having passion or pacing to communicate it. But get out your own way. It's not about you. It's about what you've got to say.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I think it kind of, you unchain yourself.
That's really good advice. I really like the idea of visualizing who it is you're actually talking to rather than just staring into the black hole abyss of what is the lens of the camera. So that's smart. I like that a lot. What would you say we talked about your biggest blocker on YouTube. What would you say your biggest success has been on YouTube? I have a feeling I know what it is, but I'm interested to hear you say it.
I mean, an obvious one is the fact that I was able to pay for a 100 grand van.
Yes.
Yeah, but that feels like it's a bit kind of a bit showy. Like when I say that, because I mentioned this to a mate and I was like, oh, is that a bit showy? Like, because some people, anyway, I won't get into that, but there's a whole psychology thing on that. I think that's my working class kind of like within shore council estate upbringing that I never feel I deserve things. But I think, it's the van, but I think it's the trajectory it can take you on.
Yeah.
I think once you do it and you get into it and you trust it and you get past the pain points, you really have no idea where it's going to take you and the friends you can meet and all that kind of thing. So I think it's the biggest success is owning the unknown, like going, don't know where this is going to go. Don't know who I'm going to meet. This could be an effing disaster, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Excited for the journey.
Yeah. It's just like lock in and do it. And
it's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. That's really good. Yeah, it kind of brings me on to this point really about whether, I feel like I have multiple personas online. I've got my YouTube fitness persona and I've got my agency owner persona and I've got my LinkedIn persona. Well, which persona of yours do you think that your clients most relate to? Is it agency owner, Mark, or is it the kind of van life, I keep saying van life, van enthusiast Mark that they more relate to?
When you think about personas, Michael, I keep forgetting his name, the
Michael Roberts.
Michael Roberts, he talks about whether you're going to dial up things or dial things down. Brilliant podcast that I actually learned, I took a lot away from that.
Brilliant.
And I think, he references like, if you're at a funeral, like you know, are you going to dial it down, like where you're going to go with it? And I think you do have to dial up the enthusiasm and the intense engagement, like the energy. But that doesn't mean that in a YouTube way, it doesn't mean that you have to become someone else or it's got like a pastiche of, it's like the presenter version of you. I think you have to turn that on, but you have to be careful that that's still
authentic,
real and authentic. Yeah. I think to answer your question, I think I think ultimately the YouTube kind of community just see me as the van guy. They just see me as the van guy. And then, my agency community are probably a bit confused at the moment because I probably put more stuff about like health or van stuff on LinkedIn than I do about all the great stuff we do around work and branding and what have you. So I think the agency world is probably a bit confused and just think Mark's gone off and done something with vans. The van life community probably don't really know much about that side about, of what I do really.
Yeah.
So they're very different worlds,
Definitely.
I suppose.
You mentioned something there which it's fascinated me the more I was kind of looking into you. You're obviously known as the branding guy, like a branding expert, and you've done some incredible work. I think there's a big misunderstanding for a lot of people as to what branding actually is. You say branding, they think of, oh yeah, logos, color palettes, those kind of things. They think of it in really, really simple, basic terms. But branding is much more than that, particularly personal branding. How has your experience in branding helped you with video?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think ultimately what you're doing on YouTube is you are, whether you like it or not, you're creating a personal brand.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware of that. So when I say that, it's kind of, my brother's friend's just been on Big Brother, and really handsome guy, could be a model. And he's been on that, and he got into like the latter stages. And as soon as he come out, I just sent him a message and said, "All right, Marcus, how's it going? You really need to think about your personal brand." And when I say that, it's think about your values.
Yeah.
So what are you willing to do and what are you not willing to do? And then think about things like your brand personality and what have you. Because it becomes a guiding light. It prevents you doing things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And I think there's a technical aspect to it from YouTube going, make sure it still fits within what the algorithm and your audience is wanting. So stay on track. But the values are bigger, defining guides. It helps you stay on the rails for like where you want to go. And I think if you don't get your values pinned down, or indeed your kind of vision statement, you can end up all over the show.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think ultimately brand is a reputation.
Yeah.
So like, you'll see different things, brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And they're talking not about, oh, we had a lovely logo. You know what I mean? They're not talking about that.
Yeah.
They're talking about how does it make me feel?
Yes.
How did they say? And brand is a whole host of different things. So it's strategic. What are your values? What are your core beliefs? What do all these things mean to your internal staff or your products or whatever? How does that world then come alive? And then kind of, what are all these other things around it? Like, how do people feel the brand, whether it's color, texture, smell, like with motion, it could be a motion language. Like you decide, does everything really jerky and really fast? Or is it like always smooth and kind of got all these different things to think about with brand? Brand strategy is just a plan, and I use multiple frameworks, but there's, you use a framework and you can push people through this framework. And out the end, you get a result. And then effectively out the end of that, you go, that is now a design brief, which initially starts as identity design, but then flows into other things like, okay, you do, like with some branding guidelines, we'll go into real detail about what we do with like photography. So it's like lighting, grading, whatever. For copy, it might be like for University of Manchester, we did like a messaging framework, which was how they talk to different people at different times.
Right.
So when they start off on the course versus the end of the course, it was just detailed messaging framework. Where things are going with the creator economy, I just find it unbelievably fascinating. I talk to AI every single day, like physically talk to it, have full-blown conversations. And I am using it for health, for work, for, we had a conversation this week going, well, I think we need to get rid of iStock and things like that.
Yeah.
I've been using Gemini more. So it's like, are we getting rid of ChatGPT? Because like Gemini's now included.
Yeah.
So this idea of building your personal brand and, that being transposed into video, it all carries across.
Yeah.
But in fact, I think a lot of content creators would need the services of a branding agency to develop personal brand. I just don't necessarily like the personal brand name, but call it what it is.
I think this is a big thing. This is what I was kind of leading up to, is that I think a lot of established YouTubers, for example, they have a pretty good idea of self.
Yeah.
So they know kind of instinctively maybe what their brand is. I don't think they've ever really defined it and had a guide in place. And that's kind of what I was interested in your perspective on.
That's a really good point. I think they have great intuition through what they've learned. they don't know what to call it and how to put it down on paper.
Yeah.
And I think when they do, that'd probably unlock a lot of things for them to go on and do bigger and
It'd be
better
so
things.
useful as a guide, just to say, well, can I talk about this? No, actually, it's not actually within my brand ethos or whatever it might be.
I think like what Steve's doing with his team and people, and the fact that like you got like Davina McCall and like, I think they've got something like four people in the top 20 podcast things now,
right,
like in the UK, which is mental. But even with Jordan, I really need to learn how to spell his second. What's loads of his content? Jordan Schwab. I think it's Jordan Schwab, and then it's Schwarberger as his full name.
Yeah.
He talks all about, he was the manager of the Sidemen, their pathway in terms of understanding their IP and where they could go as a brand.
Yeah.
That really took off.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's then got to become polished and all the rest of it. In fact, I think the Sidemen's most popular video was during COVID when they just sit around and they're talking on a roof.
Yeah.
And like, that brand is still an important part of that. Like there's probably elements from their brand and the kind of the quintessential piece of their brand is probably in that fact and how they were talking on that roof and why people watch them.
Yeah.
So there's understanding brand doesn't mean all of a sudden you've got to get really official on it and what have you. It's just kind of understanding the makeup of what it, and a lot of it's about transposing. So you can put a brand down on paper and that's a written language. And then it's like, well, what's our visual language?
Yes.
So how do we take brand personality, which are a bunch of words, like it might be, wisdom or whatever. How do they transpose into colours and that, iconography or whatever? It's like, how does that work across? And I think brand can be decisions around, there's a guy called Martin Numria who written a book called Zag. If you want to understand brand, that's like absolutely love that book. There's loads of information in it, like diagrams. And he talks a lot about how what increases or decreases your, he calls it onlyness, but it's your uniqueness.
Yeah.
So if you're a certain brand like Porsche and all of a sudden you start going into cycling or something different, like does it have a brand affinity with your customer base? And the reason I talk about these types of things is with the creator economy, it's now about, can you sell a product? Can you monetize what you do by selling a product?
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about products, then you really do need to think about brand.
Yeah.
What products fit with me?
Yeah.
And what feel like I've just tagged them on to earn a few quid.
What makes me look like I'm a sellout?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. What makes me look like I'm a sellout? Yeah. So, really good question, that actually.
Do you think that brand guide that we talked about, I used it in the context of an established YouTuber, but do you think anyone that goes and becomes a personal brand on a video platform should maybe have at least a basic format of those kind of guidelines in place?
Yeah. I think like run through, if you can pull a favor and run through a workshop with somebody, like work out what your hang-ups are, like work out where, what's your vision? Where do you want to go with it? And vision can sort of like change and mold, but you've got to have something to aim at. So build out your vision, understand your personality more. Like you might think you know what your personality is, but if you sit down and then you start to, get all the words out and you're going, right, well, is it 3 values? Is it 6 values? And why are we going to stand and believe this?
Yeah.
Like when you start getting pushed into a corner going, I need to make a decision on this.
Yeah.
And I want you to kind of believe it and move with it. That's when things really start to click.
That's right. That's powerful. And I think it's quite often, even myself, I get offered brand deals all the time. And sometimes I think, that's relevant. It's fitness related, but is it really for me? Is it for my channel? And I don't have those guidelines written out. Whereas maybe if I did, it would just be an immediate, no, that's not in the context of my channel.
This is the thing. It is the no thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the position I'm in now, I can say no to things a lot because I probably have more work to do than a need. Power no, but that's the thing with brand. It's like once you have a target and you understand what the brand ecosystem is, it's easy to say no to things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this doesn't fit, and move on. And it's kind of that, again, Bartlett talks about it a lot, like noise versus signal. And it's like, no, This is signal. This is where we should be. No, that's noise. Doesn't fit within our brand ecosystem.
Perfect.
Be out of the way.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's some really, really good insights. Now, is it this time in the podcast where we like to try and find out a little bit more about our guests, and we'd like to do it with a quickfire question round. It's in the format of this or that. So it's this or that questions. Interpret them however you want. Add context if you wish. Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, question one, nice and simple. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. That's an easy one. Yeah.
And you already have. We've got
three. We've got three dogs. We've got 3 dogs. Yeah. 3 dogs.
Okay. Wild camping or serviced campsite?
Wild camping.
Really?
Every day, all day. Yeah.
Even
way
with your
better.
van, you want like an outlet to plug into?
No. Just honestly, you pull up next to a beach or somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you just can't be. It's like it's got to be wild camping all the time.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. 6 a.m. start or working late into the night?
That's an easy one. Working late into the night.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I can get up in the mornings when I have to, but I choose not to if I don't have to. But there's that little window in late at night when I kind of get in the zone a little bit. So I try and use that as much as possible. Yeah.
I haven't done it for a while, but my best working time is somewhere between 6 and 9 for sure. I'm 100% a night owl, so I'm with you on that one. Do you prefer to be in front of the lens or behind the camera?
Oh, mate, that's a good one. Oh, mate.
Tricky.
Yeah. 50-50, that one. Yeah. So I love being behind the camera because you do get a buzz from, when you do it and you go, oh, that went really well. I've communicated everything. And you watch it back and you go, communicated that like great. Being behind the camera, I just love the curation of everything and coming up with ideas. And sometimes you'll have an idea and people don't quite understand it. You go, let's just try this and we'll put the models in this thing and then it works. And then when you get like Matthew works, and he's like, oh, I get it now, it works. Yeah. You can like that's a nice feeling as well. It's satisfying. Yeah.
Tricky one to answer that one.
50-50 that one.
50-50. Okay. Okay, so this is a good one for you. Perfect video or perfect audio?
Oh, I would used to say perfect video. Mm-hmm. Now I would say perfect audio.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few videos where the audio is shockingly bad.
In what way?
Just that either I'd not quite gauged the clipping, like maybe a little bit too loud.
Yeah.
And also lack of understanding on kind of improving the audio before. When you're doing YouTube, you're kind of like, oh, I need to get it out. So rather than sitting on it for a day and just coming back the next day and going, right, let's improve that audio, you rush it out.
Yeah.
And then when you watch it back, you see it more clearly or you hear it more clearly. You go, that just wasn't great. I should have just took another day and sorted out. So audio is so important. It's very distracting as well. If like the audio's bad, you can't get away from it. You just want to come off the video. Yeah,
it's very, very jarring if you've got bad audio. Whereas a bad video, you can kind of tolerate to a degree. Yeah. When I first started on YouTube, I made lots and lots of mistakes with my audio. It was really inconsistent. Yeah. And so I created my own set of principles and frameworks for how to set up my audio. Yeah. And it standardized it across my whole channel, standardized it for our clients. It's been great. So audio first for me.
Audio first, it's got to be. Yeah.
Okay. Would you prefer 10,000 views on LinkedIn or 10,000 views on YouTube?
Right, YouTube. Like
for the monetization alone.
Those 10,000 will become 20, 30,000 over time. So like all day, every day, YouTube. Yeah.
And I guess if you're drop shipping and things as well, these are also potential sales.
That's money in your pocket. Like what can I say? It's like, LinkedIn feels like a bit more of an ego stroker than anything else at the moment. But I think YouTube just, that compounding effect, like all day, every day. Yeah.
I agree. Short form content or long form deep dives?
Same. As much as I do tend to flick through quite a bit of short form content, I just love being able to just sit back and whack the telly on. And it's funny enough, the trends on TV on YouTube are getting a lot higher. Surprising even me, and I'm doing a lot more. I just love the fact that you can go, I'm going to catch up on the news, or someone's going to Morocco and driving through the mountains in their thing, so I'll just watch that. There's a guy watching, there's no audio. It's just him camping in a van. Really? Yeah, he's in like Canada and like these SFX. There's like this sound, but there's no audio.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. Just watch. It's funny how you could just sit and watch that. But
yeah, for me, it's context. So like if I'm having my lunch, for example, and I want to be entertained while I'm eating my lunch, short form content.
Yeah.
All the way. If I'm working out in the gym, I like to have a video on in the background. And it might be like an hour, it might be like a podcast episode or something.
Yeah.
So it all depends on situationally where I am.
I think the thing as well with long form is a long form can be a podcast. So if you want to, like, there's an interview or whatever, then you could just kind of, especially with the way it works with cars and vans now, you jump, like the new vans that we've got, it's got wireless Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
So you're watching something, jumping, you're driving somewhere, it's like, I just carry on listening to the podcast when you're on the way there. So yeah, I love it for that aspect as well.
I did the same thing. I was actually in Pure Gym last night in Blackburn of all places.
Yeah.
And I'd started a YouTube podcast and I just continued listening to the audio on YouTube, using my pocket. Yeah. Just carried on.
So yeah, long form, like, gets my win, I think. Yeah.
And then final question, fully scripted or fix it in post? Well, the fact that you're already thinking about this shocks me already, but carry on.
I think fully scripted. I think what I've found is that kind of definitely fully scripted. But what I'm saying is, again, so my branding commercial work and the commercial video work, fully scripted, because it can waste time. When you're doing YouTube stuff, I think once you've got your thumbnail and a bit of guidance, sometimes you can just let it flow a little bit. And you can do a big long monologue talk to camera, edit it all down, you get all the juicy bits and you got a video. So yeah, fully scripted, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. See, with YouTube, even my own stuff, that's still fully scripted to the letter. Yeah. Because I'll do all the storytelling and stuff in advance. So it's all there and all I have to do is memorize it and talk it to camera, basically.
I told you I'm a chatterbox to that. So I just just turn the camera, just talk.
Yeah. You don't want to lose your natural
batteries run flat. Everyone's fell asleep.
Can we talk a little bit about your book then, just for a little bit? And you've got this. So you got this book. It's coming up, hopefully, some point in 2026. It's going to be called The First Guest. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you're going to potentially have a first guest YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm not jumping the gun here. I'm not giving the game away.
No, not at all. No, I think it kind of makes sense. I think what I'm finding is that as I'm really passionate about all the van stuff, but there's these things, whether it's health or past clients that I want to interview. Like Morgan, who set up Barbarito, it was Morgan and Paul, but he's gone on to set up a paddle brand. Paddle as in the tennis, like paddle down the canoe. James, who I work with, is into cars and these really fascinating people, like these entrepreneurs that I'd love to interview. These people that I spoke to in health that I'd love to speak to.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel like I can't like scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And then also I don't really talk about brand and all these things that I think about from that side of it. And they could be really like technical things like naming and creating a name and how you go about it, or trademarking, or like these really useful technical bits like that. Yeah. But then there's the deeper dives around like case studies and things that have happened, and like telling stories about our brand started, whether it's like, Shindigger or, as I say, Barbarito, other brands that we've created that went from nothing to 18 stores or whatever.
Yeah.
So you got all these kind of really nice stories and they've got nowhere to live.
Yeah.
So they're just all in my head. So I was kind of thinking that I want to get my story across in the book. And then I really love this idea of the power of firsts.
Yes.
Just allowing someone to start, or people reflecting back on when they got started. So yeah, I'd like to try and have a way. I don't know how I'm going to fit it all in time-wise, but I'd like to have a way to sort of tell those stories. And at the moment, it's not going to fit in with the van stuff. It'd be shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Algorithm won't like it. My audience will be like, what is he talking about? Like, why is he interviewing a flipping guy who set up a chain of restaurants when he's, he should be show me how to fit a fuse on my van, So it will scratch that itch, I think.
Yeah. It sounds like a great concept. I love the idea of it being called The First Guest with that whole backstory and context, but then focusing on the idea of firsts as well. I think that's smart. I like that.
I think it's kind of, there's been so many, as you get older, you get the sort of, maybe this is what wisdom is, but this idea that like with time, the more time goes on, you can look back at a moment in time and go, oh, that was really good. That helped that person, or really good that person helped me. You don't really understand the magnitude of it until time's passed. And there's been so many times in my life that someone's helped me out with something or took the time to just give me that first kind of job or whatever. And I think just building something around that, because for me, like when I watch a lot of the podcast stuff, where it gets interesting is when they talk about when they got started and when they got going with something and the troubles there, and anyone, whatever size of business, you know, you kind of, there's a fascination around that first
Definitely
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you get like, regardless of me, take me out of it, but to look at what Steve's done and then to look back at the first time he did it, like go back and listen to his first interview versus
how polished he is now.
Yeah.
The production that's involved and everything. Yeah.
Like it's almost like a learning, like, you know, if you had a museum and you was like looking through things, you'd want to go back to the first thing and go like, well, where did it all start? Like, how bad was it? Like, you know, because I think that's the thing with first is they are sometimes a bit of a fumble. But that's okay. It should be a bit of a fumble because you're just getting going and what have you. So I think there's something in it, and I kind of want to.
Well, I hope you do it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to your book. I'm actually looking forward to reading the full book when it comes out, and I'm looking forward to seeing that podcast, that YouTube channel, because I think it'll be amazing. It's got good potential,
mate. I might have you on it because you I've got loads of questions. Yeah. As I was saying, like people not really realizing that you've done these videos that have done insane numbers, like the knowledge that you must have in your noggin. Like people should be knocking down the door to kind of unlock some of that. And I think what you'll find is that as YouTube grows and people understand it more, I think that's when everyone's going to be scrambling about to find who knows about this stuff. Like who's
crazy thing is, so 2016, I was looking around for other companies that were using YouTube. And I was like, am I taking crazy pills? Am I the only one that sees this opportunity? Nobody was doing it. So we had to go, Sadie, my wife and I, we had to fly to LA to meet with people in LA because they were the only people that really seemed to understand. Yeah. There's a massive opportunity for YouTube and businesses here. Yeah. And it's just a massive opportunity on YouTube, kind of full stop. In terms of earning potential and everything that goes with it. Now people are catching on and there's far less education from our side to kind of encourage people to do it. Yeah. But they're still not really doing it. You know, they're not fully going all in.
I tell you what, I think the kind of creator-led community is growing and thriving. Mm-hmm. I think businesses using YouTube is way behind. Yeah. That's where I think it's really lagging. I won't get into it because I'll be here for another 5 hours, but I really think it's fascinating how untapped it is. I think it's fascinating. I think AI and the way AI will serve up videos as a way of answering your questions, I think that might start to unlock.
We're already seeing it in lots of ways, and it's only going to improve. So I think you're right. I think it's going to change things a great deal. Yeah. Mark, it's been an absolute masterclass today. It's been so good to get some of your insights, and I think it's going to be tremendous value for the people watching this video. Where can people find you, whether it's your Ahoy, your personal brand with van life, or your branding agency?
Well, ahoy.co.uk is the branding agency, and then Ahoy Leisure is probably the best. If you want to see me talking vans on video, go
so
to
Ahoy Leisure on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mark,
cheers, mate. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Been a pleasure.
Yeah. Cheers, dude. Thanks a lot.